Four Nations sweeps Ontario. The people of Ontario revolt. That is the subject, the main story here in Canada, the main top story. In a stunning election victory, Doug Ford's Ontario PC surpassed everyone's expectations. We were all expecting this to be a close election, both popular vote-wise and seat-wise. Actually, the night ended up with the PCs winning 40% of the popular vote to the NDP's 35% of the popular vote. Now, everyone might say that that's still close, but that's the same gap that the long-haired macdaddy won back in 2015 with Stephen Harper. In fact, that gap is probably a little bigger. So Doug Ford won an even bigger popular vote victory than the long-haired macdaddy, swift-foot macdaddy Justin Trudeau did in 2015 against Stephen Harper. The seats, that's even bigger. Most people were expecting maybe 70 seats the PCs would win. They won 76. And it seems that the only people who voted NDP were their base. They did not get independents. They did not get suburbanites. They did not get family people. They got their base. They got ridings that people expected them to win. Now, there were a few exceptions. I thought that maybe we would take back Oshawa. Now, I'm actually in Durham, which is north of Oshawa, the Durham constituency, and thank goodness my riding is now a blue riding. And it's usually always a blue riding, but last election, the Liberals took it in their big sweep, and now it's gone back to blue, so that's good. We didn't get Oshawa, though. We didn't get Niagara Centre, but all in all, those are still ridings that usually, I mean, in an election where the NDP is surging, those ridings are pretty much going to go NDP. So that's fine. But 76 seats is a huge, huge landslide. And what does this mean? It means that Justin, the long-haired macdaddy, swiftfoot macdaddy, is in a terrible position right now. He has just lost his biggest ally. He has just lost the biggest province in Ontario, in Canada, which is Ontario. Kathleen Wynne is gone, and she has gone very, very badly. Kathleen Wynne and the Liberals only won 7 seats. The only good news for Kathleen Wynne is that she won her own riding, barely. And finally, the PC candidates who won their seats won them by pretty big margins. Everyone was saying that, oh, well, the PCs would win, but it would be small margins. No, they won big margins. The riding that I'm in, Durham, the PC candidate, Lindsay Parks, she won like, what, 60% of the vote? So it was big, 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 big. I mean, the PCs won ridings that they had never won in years. Back in the 90s, they had won Scarborough, Rouge Park, all those kind of places. I mean, the PCs did very well in Scarborough. They did very well in Etobicoke. They did very well in the Greater Toronto area. So now, the long-haired macdaddy better prepare himself for war, because Doug Ford has said he is against the carbon tax. Now, if the people of Alberta elect Jason Kenney, which they just very well might, and that's Alberta. I mean, Ontario is one thing, but Alberta, I mean, that's conservative. That's like, I mean, so if they do that, and Jason Kenney is also against the carbon tax, you got Scott Moe in there in Saskatchewan. And then you've got in Quebec, you have a center-right, for Quebec standards, center-right politician, Francois Legault from the CAQ, who looks like he might win that election. The long-haired macdaddy is pretty much boxed in. The only provinces that would probably, I mean, you got NDP and BC, but it doesn't look like the NDP and Trudeau are in BC are seeing eye to eye right now. So the only provinces which would be allied to the macdaddy are in those maritime, Nova Scotia and all those places. And even Newfoundland looks like they might elect a PC government. So I want to see what happens to the carbon tax. I hope these provinces come down on the macdaddy like a ton of bricks. I hope they tear him apart. I hope they roll him around and make dough out of this boy. I hope they teach him a lesson. They gotta tear him up and tear up the carbon tax. Do not put in a carbon tax. Revolt against the carbon tax. Throw that in the garbage. Give the macdaddy hell. Put him in the Supreme Court if you have to. This is war now against the long-haired macdaddy and the federal government. Now, I'm not saying that he will necessarily lose in 2019 because, as we've seen, elections do matter. So, yeah, he's down in the polls now, but he can easily come back up during an election period. But this is a huge, serious problem that he is in right now. He has lost Ontario. He is probably going to lose Alberta. Saskatchewan has already rejected him. Manitoba has a PC government, albeit a very weak one. So all these people, all these leaders are going to come down on this guy. And finally, I have to say this. There are going to be tough decisions that Doug Ford has to make, and I will encourage them, and I will support them. We have the largest sub-sovereign debt on earth. Ontario does. We need to make tough choices to get that down. We're in a crisis right now, and we've just elected a new doctor, so I hope that the doctor won't come in after the new doctor after the old doctor left. The new doctor isn't going to just come in and stand there and look at the patient bleed out. He's going to have to make tough choices, and we can't turn on our brother Ford now. We can't do it. We have to stand by him. We have to support him. I will say, however, that I hope that he gets rid of this cap and trade and he fights the carbon tax. The only thing I expect him to fight the macdaddy. I expect him and Jason Kenney and Scott Moe to fight the long-haired Swiftfoot, two-timing macdaddy from the pit of hell. I want to see that dude taken down. And I hope that all those people in Ontario that voted for Doug Ford and the PCs come out in 2019 and vote for the Conservatives. Hopefully. It usually doesn't work that way, but hopefully that's what happens. This is the Arana Nation, and I want to thank all of my viewers who have bought t-shirts. I've seen the stats. They are very popular. And remember, you can get your very own Arana Nation t-shirt by going down to the comment section of this video and hitting the pinned link at the top of the comment section, and you will be directed to the page where you can get your Arana Nation t-shirts.